that concludes my first demo section. I'm now gonna jump to the demo menu and directly to Temple Encounter. And of course you can't do this in the final game. You'll have to actually experience the full thing, and you'll have to move through this entire area of getting out of the stem, leaving, and then getting to an earlier part of this section. I want to avoid spoilers here, so I'm not going to get overly specific, but I can explain at least something about the location we're going to end up at.
Here it is, our stop. The creepy old temple.
I guess I didn't need to, because our friend Luca did that pretty well already. And so Willona has met up with her colleague and friend Luca, and they're gonna try and execute on this whole savior plan together to set the child free. And at this point in this shady area where, it's mostly ruins, flooded ruins and outcasts, maybe it would be a good idea to at least be able to defend yourself, right? So I am getting a gun from Luca, or Willona as well.
It's just insurance. What the hell?
Here's one of these shady characters.
Don't go in there. He can hear us. And you. He's coming for you.
What? Who's coming for me?
You know who. You know very well what you...
One might wonder. You can actually pick up lots of smaller cues if you're exploring and investigating that point to what this character is referring to. But we are also able to follow up with the lurker to then confront Luca on whatever this is. But in the interest of time, and also maybe to avoid as many spoilers as possible, I'm just gonna head for the temple ruin and try and shortcut through it as was the plan. Yeah, this imagery, I guess, is kinda uninviting, right?
This place creeps me out.
There it is. It wasn't all abandoned, rather it was a trap.
Fear not. Landlord's at your service. Or just the Lord, for short. Urban by name.
And so we're introduced to Urban.
We don't want any trouble, Urban. We're just, trying to pass through.
You fancy superins think you own every piece of ground you set foot on. Trying to prance right through my inner sanctum for a shortcut.
So now we're at a point in the game where we're gonna start blending the dialogues with the encounter and the confrontation system. And the way we go about it is that not only that you'll learn about the immediate surroundings or anybody that you're about to face through the interactions and through the topics or the branching dialogue in itself, but also you'll start picking up on stuff that you will actually bring as gameplay elements into the encounters. And I'm gonna show you in just a little while.
You can't pretend there's much left of this place.
Sure. It's a fixer-upper. Given the right amount of love and care, my temple would be like you. I even got around installing my very own power generator. Gwen's her name. My light and love, she is.
Yeah, so Urban even reveals now that the power generator behind him is named Gwen, and he considers her being his love and light, and so maybe that's one of his soft or weak spots. But in the interest of time, once again, I'm just gonna provoke Urban as fast as possible.
Listen, Urban, I was going to pay you.
You'll pay all right.
While I was talking there, Urban even made a remark about Lucas, so they seem to have a history together. And of course you can confront Luca on that and see wherever that goes. But I'm gonna save that for you.
Look, we're on an important mission, and time is running out on us.
Ah, do tell. What kind of mission?
I'm sorry, but
There
there's
really
no
is no
time
time.
to explain.
There's as much time as I say there is. Tick tock.
Or is there?
Not if I can help it.
Well, can ya?
So here we go. We're entering
Well, take
into
cover.
a confrontation. And that is a situation where the enemy is already provoked and aware of your presence. And
This is
now
insane, Urban.
it's
Please.
all out, guns blazing.
The Lord's coming for you, Mr. Turner.
Urban is firing on Luca's position
Cover's crumbling.
while he is hiding behind that cover. And
We should move.
as Willona
Find
also
some more
remarks
cover.
here,
Now, how do we
Luca
turn
should
off that
probably
electricity?
move, because nothing in this game is actually a permanent or indestructible position cover. Everything on the battlefields is entirely destructible, and that also goes for any problem solving in this case that maybe could involve destroying this generator. Let's try that.
Lights out.
Did the
Now
trick.
let's keep pushing through.
And so that brings me to the next component of the game, and one of the absolute most important ones, and that is, I'm gonna switch over seamlessly to the mouse to show you. Hovering the portraits, you can see that the number down here is not hit points or toughness or anything generic like that you've seen in a multitude of other games, but rather motivation. And that is entirely what this meter corresponds to, because that lets us affect the character in all these different ways that are not directly tied to hit points or health. And it opens up possibilities for us to make it so much more nuanced and so much more about story and characters. And so the idea is definitely to bring story and characters into these types of turn-based encounters and make it personal, literally personal. So
Watch your step now.
Urban managed to guess Willona's position. He shot at the cover and he blew it up, destroyed it, and so Willona stands here exposed, and that has had her lose motivation, not only from suppression but also from being exposed, with which of course is very dangerous to stand out in the open and being vulnerable to direct fire. So I'm gonna move her not only into cover but also to pick up some ammo, and we'll see what happens with her motivation. So she picks up the ammo,
Needed that.
she gets 10 back from that, and then she's covered. So now we've got 2 positive effects, bringing us back to a maximum of 100 of motivation. And as you may notice, when Luca is moving here, the ping is updated until he's actually behind cover and then disappearing behind the cover. The white pings that you can see here and here, they are actually the last position where the enemy heard or saw, in this case the player, and so we can actually use that to our advantage to try and shake the enemy and have him shoot at positions where we wouldn't get suppressed or wouldn't get exposed. And it's very central to the mechanic as well, that we have to keep moving and stay out of harm's way.
As landlord, I have a zero tolerance policy against thieves.
Give me a break.
Urban is actually taunting Willona and Luca with speak lines, and they are causing discouraged on Willona and Luca, and that is part of the whole bringing dialogues into the encounters idea that I was referring to earlier. So that goes for the player as well. You can go to speak, and in this case I'll have one line here because this is a tutorial for speak, and I'll be able to motivate Luca to focus, and from that he will also be encouraged.
Luke, focus. We need to help each other out here.
You got it, Will.
And with these status effects applied, switching to Luca, I will now have a better reach through focused to aim at tiles further away. Yeah, he's behind a high cover, which can take more hits. Another shot will probably do the trick. There he is,
Got him pinned
exposed. And so of course he's running to find a new position, but
Get
also
ready
to stock
for
up on
another
more ammo.
survey.
And through that, once again, he got motivation back. So, the status effects are supposed to correspond to, intuitively, the state in which a character is and what has just recently happened to that character. So for example, Luca is now standing up because he's been exposed, he's been suppressed, and from the taunt, he was also discouraged. And so in themselves, they're supposed to be descriptive enough for you to not go into the details of it and the stats of it. Because that is the idea, once again, it's supposed to be an intuitive, character-centered experience where it's all about emotion and characters like presence and state of mind. But if I want to, of course, I could bring up the information on these status effects to have it explained. And that goes if I switch to mouse as well, I can actually hover them instead, of course. Something that we have worked hard on is once again the whole aspect of catering to the strength of an input device. So now I seamlessly switched to keyboard and mouse, and of course it plays very smoothly, just as it does with a gamepad, which I've been playing with all this time through the encounter this far. Remember Gwen? The precious love that he was talking about? How about firing
Generate
on
this.
her to see how that could indirectly affect the unit?
No! Stop hurting my Gwen, you little shits!
Think we found his weak spot.
Yeah.
I've got all night and all the bullets I need. You don't.
Well, at least he seems to amuse
Still
himself.
he insists, and he tries to taunt Luca and Willona, and he succeeds in that. You can even go up in bird view if you want to do that.
Now don't go anywhere.
Now I'm gonna show you one last thing, and that is what would happen if a unit was to lose all its motivation. It all connects together in this whole circle of motivation. I'm gonna show you. First, let's just provoke Urban here. Yeah, so what happens now is that Luca, standing in the open, is forced to dodge the shot, so he gets to intervene before the enemy fires on him, and so I can choose a position to evade to, and preferably that would be a cover, right? And so Urban misses when Luca is evading, but on the other hand, that cost Luca a whole lot of motivation because he was both confronted and threatened in that action. I'm gonna fire on Gwen once again.
I said stop it! She's suffering! You leave her alone now. You hear?
Like me doing that. And then I'm gonna carelessly run and place Luca like this. And so let's see how Luca is able to handle this. Will he? Whoa, no he didn't. He's down to a demotivated state, and so now he's actually fleeing and I'm losing control of him entirely. I won't be able to do anything to change that, except with a different unit. I could, with Willona, go in to the speak lines and I could choose a recovered line to bring him back into action with some motivation at least. But since this is gonna be a little bit of a display of what will happen, I'm just gonna let it play out. So we're gonna end my unit turn here. Oops. I even cloaked, but that doesn't hurt, I guess. So he's running for it. He's trying at least his very best to just reach the exit. But yeah, he wasn't able to.
You got me.
And so that kind of closes the circle on the whole basic system of motivation.
I told you people, trespassers will be shot. You simply wouldn't listen. Now look what you made me do.
You are a monster.
Yeah? Well, you made this monster. Look at that. There you are.
You're not getting away with this.
Yeah, so through losing Luca, Willona is now vengeful, and she will gain motivation back from causing motivation damage to the enemy. And once again, we're tying story into the actual strategic encounters, making it personal with every action.
How does this feel?
Why are you making my life miserable? What did I ever do to you lot?
Good. Glad it hurts.
And that concludes my demo of Reign of Reflections, which of course spans a whole lot of more content, more interesting battlefields for you to tackle in a number of different ways. Permanent deaths to any allies to Willona, permanent deaths to enemies that will also result in death scenes in some cases. And beyond that, of course, more story, more exploration, this huge world to learn more about through this first chapter being released on the 20th of September. Thank you so much for your time.